This is an overview of the presentation Hops did at passwordscon 2015, Good Password Hashing Scheme, Horrible Login Key Implementation. Ashley Madison used bcrypt to store their passwords. Bcrypt was used with 4096 iterations, and there was approximately 36 million hashes. This algorithm is not CPU friendly and it is not GPU friendly. If it was implemented properly, it would have taken years to crack all the bcrypt hashes. Even with an enormous amount of compute resources, this would be near impossible. If you had 4 R9 290Xs, it would take roughly 48 hours to test every single bcrypt against one password. So clearly this is going to be a tedious process. We, Cynosure Prime, identified 2 methods that were used to generate the token for the login key variable, which we suspect is used for an auto-login purpose. The method with the static salt was tested on a known sample bcrypt plain password pair and did not appear to work. The second method indicated the login key was also generated via MD5 using a combination of the username and encrypted password. The encrypted password routine invokes the bcrypt hash routine. However, we wondered what happened before bcrypt was implemented. Was plain text password storage used? If that was the case, does that mean login key was generated using the plain text password? This was tested on several known bcrypt plain password pairs, and we obtained successful results suggesting our hypothesis was true. Ashley Madison failed to regenerate their users' login keys using the bcrypted form of the hash. Instead, they left them as the lowercase MD5. I guess you could say they put a state-of-the-art lock on their front door, but forgot to change the lock on the back door, and instead decided to use a $2 padlock. Take note that both algorithms first convert the password to lowercase, thus reducing the key space needed to cover. However, since the passwords are all represented as bcrypt hashes, each hash has to be case corrected against the bcrypt hash of the account in order to ensure we have the correct case. Algorithm 1 is used when the user modifies attributes of their account, while algorithm 2 is called on user account creation. Due to this, both algorithms have to be used to crack the login key tokens, as we have no idea which users have modified their accounts and which haven't. To filter out the 15 million exploitable hashes out of the 36 million, we can just invoke the login key generation methods using the bcrypt hashes and remove all those MD5s from our list. Despite the login keys being MD5, they are still salted with the username. Because of this, it is not wise to run large brute force attacks until the number of salts could be greatly reduced. The approach was to use common passwords first in an attempt to remove as many easily crackable ones as quickly as possible with the least amount of computation. The aim was to reduce as many salts as quickly as possible using simple and efficient attacks. This would then allow broader attacks covering larger key spaces to be run quickly later on. Waffle, the creator of MDXFind, was able to quickly add support for specific MD5 algorithms without us having to reformat them. This was useful since MDXFind uses multi-block MD5 implementation, allowing support for longer passwords. It was also able to load in the initially very large lists and process them quickly so we could check for both discovered login key generation methods simultaneously. BCVal, short for bcrypt validation, was developed as it allowed us to efficiently validate each token against specific bcrypt hashes and apply a case toggling to the token until it matched the bcrypt counterpart. This was vital in verifying our cracked tokens, as using an off-the-shelf cracker would be too slow since they are designed to run a broad list against every single hash instead of a specific hash. In order to efficiently validate bcrypts, Atom worked together with Waffle and implemented an efficient toggling technique, allowing the common twiddles to be tested first, followed by the less common ones. MD5 Spec AM is similar to single crack mode in John the Ripper. We were able to test a specific plain text against a specific MD5 hash. This means we are able to extract additional user data and incorporate this into the cracking process. As an example, we can use the username portion of their email address, the username for the site, their nickname for the site, or their password recovery secret answers from the database. MDX-Find was modified so an additional list could be read, feeding the cracker with this extra data for specific users. This allowed us to optimize the attack greatly. The specific data was then heavily mangled with rules, extracted from previous tokens cracked, and also general common rules used today. GPU support for both algorithms was later provided to us by Atom via the AM-specific OCL hashcat or CUDA hashcat versions. RockU data was converted to lowercase prior to generating these stats. The estimated speed is roughly 11 billion checks per second. Mask modeling gives us good predictions in areas where we can potentially yield password hits with little effort. Not only that, we can identify areas which have the greatest differences and lowest key space, allowing us to carry out attacks efficiently on the salted MD5s. Rows which show both green delta and green time were tested against login key tokens. Since we had a bcrypt hash cracker which allowed us to test against specific plaintext, we were curious as to how many bcrypt could be cracked using some simple methods caused by users and their bad choices of passwords. All usernames were tested against the bcrypt for each other. All accounts with alike emails were tested against known passwords for that email. All accounts with alike usernames were tested with passwords from accounts with similar usernames. The Levenshtein distance was used to extract users with known passwords against those with similar usernames, and those passwords were tested. The top 30 passwords cracked from previous methods, including the MD5 tokens, were tested against all of the bcrypts. A special mode was also added to the BC val, allowing a list of previously cracked and case-corrected passwords to be supplied when a particular pair of passwords were tested. This mode could be invoked to test all previously known case twiddles. We cracked as many as we could and also worked with collaboration with Team Hashcat in exchanging our total finds, bringing us to the following totals. Comparing the top 10 passwords for each of the algorithms, we can see many similarities, especially those shared with common password leaks. We also notice some specific passwords related to this dump. However, highlighted in red are passwords which you would not normally expect to see. We suspect that these are bot accounts. Statistics were generating using PyPal. Just over 70% of the passwords were between 1 and 8 characters long. The longest password was 28 characters long, and there were over 400 of these. The main take-home message is, even though a company implements a very strong encryption for sensitive user data, this means nothing if it's not managed or implemented properly. The Ashley Madison dump is a perfect example of this. We feel it's important to showcase these unfortunate mistakes so other people can learn from the mistakes of a company that had really good intentions but failed to implement them properly.